That brings us to item number B, second reading, consideration and action on an ordinance for adoption of the operating and capital improvement budget for fiscal year 2013. Chair will recognize Councilman Mike Sabah for a motion.
Good evening. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt fiscal year budget 2013, just for clarity, the same budget that we had already had first reading on.
There's a motion. Is there a second? I see no second. The motion fails. Is there any alternative motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the operating budget be adapted to the figures that were sent out to Mayor and Council yesterday, with a slight revision today by Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilman Witts, Mayor Pro Tem Witts, that is not an appropriate motion. If you want to adopt a different version than the budget we've had a first reading and a public hearing on already, then you need to do that line by line with the differences in the proposed budget.
Very good. If we're ready, let's go. We'll start on page 2. Property taxes, $31,78,744. Auto tags, $175,000. Intangible taxes, $30,000.
Mayor Pro Tem Wentz, you need to make a motion to adopt a budget amended. So you need to say what your amendments are to the proposed budget, not reading the budget line by line.
I thought you said line by line, so that's why
I said your amendments line by line.
Okay, my amendments for the property taxes would be $3,178,744. I believe the rest of the income levels remain the same. Under expenses, I believe there was a mistaken calculation under administration, under accounting, for the 1% pay raise. It just needs to be checked. Whichever number is correct should be the one that should be input there. Accounting and
Mayor Pro Tem Wentz, we can't. You have to make a specific. We have to present a specific budget with specific numbers tonight.
Line item IT administration. Excuse me. IT accounting, salary and wages. The figure I was given by the city is $54,066.31. Also under under human resources, your budget shows $69,075. The 1% that I have shows $68,482.
I need a motion with what you want what you want us to vote on. What number you want us to vote on?
The one I just stated. Change. $68,482.04.
Point of order, Mayor. I'm a little bit concerned and confused. I think what we're doing here is something that may be a little bit out of either protocol or out of some sort of a order. I'd like to have the city attorney sitting in here with us to be able to set us straight, because I don't think these last-minute budget numbers that are being driven this evening are somewhat legal. I don't have time. I didn't have time to look at any of that stuff, any of the numbers that are given to us since yesterday. Mayor Pro Tem, you gave us the last adjustment this afternoon.
There was only 2 adjustments. I can explain that.
Well, I don't have time to sit there and print out the sheets and look at the numbers. We're looking at a city budget here, and if there are some amendments that need to be done, I would propose that we pass the budget. If there are amendments, let's vote on the amendments later.
I'm sorry, but I'm not. We're going to finish what we have on our budget. I'm almost done. Under capital expenditures, what page are we on? Under capital expenditures, I'm removing the $426,022 for the Wisteria property. I'm making a moment for the LCI project, excuse me, and improving the Park Lakeside Pavilion. I'm removing the $16,900 on that line item. And then under intergovernmental transfers, I'm removing the $99,107 transfer into the stormwater utility. That's the sum of my changes.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I'll open the floor up to discussion. Mayor Pro Tem Wentz.
Basically, here's what the changes I've made tonight do, with the exception of a couple minor changes for salaries, which could be right or wrong, and certainly amend to make sure they're right. But basically, right now, according to the mayor, we have $4,467,000 in our capital improvement, or excuse me, in our surplus. The budget shows $457,000, $426,000 to pay for overruns on our LCI project. I don't feel that that's something we should be taxing the people for. We received $1.4 million from on the SDS settlement. I think that we can use that $426,000 out of that $1.4 million and try and recapture some of that through surpluses in 2012 and 2013, but it's not something we should need to tax the people for. The $16,900 is because I don't believe that people should be taxed for an insurance claim that the city was paid for by an insurance company last year to fix that pavilion. The money is in our surplus because it was put in the surplus by an insurance company. We shouldn't now be going forward tax people to pay for that $16,900 when it's already been paid for by the insurance company. We just use the money that we were paid for to fix that. And the other thing on revenue, I agree with the mayor on the digest. Our digest dropped 0.6%. That compares to 6 to 10% for the cities that surround us. I think that's a testament to what's gone on in this city from 2009 to 2010 to 2011. In 2010, when we raised taxes, we said that when we had an opportunity to reduce taxes, we would do that also. SDS is putting $705,000 into our revenue stream for 2013. Was not reflected in the mayor's millage rate demonstration. Basically, what this budget does is it reduces the taxes by $530,000, and it allows for $200,000 to be surplus to perhaps, if we need to, refinance or go back into our general fund surplus. Basically, we're offering $700,000 difference between our budget and the mayor's budget. 2012 budget is going to be, we have a surplus in the 2012 budget coming up on July 9th. I would suggest that at that time we will ask that all surplus proceeds go into the surplus to help us with the LCI overruns, and then again we have $200,000 built into this estimate or this budget, which we would apply to LCI overruns. But I do not see any reason to tax the taxpayers $457,000 when we have $4.1 million or $4.4 million in excess in our budget. or in our general fund. We can use that money. That's what it's there for. We got that $1.4 million back from the county last year. I have been quoted in the papers saying that that money needs to be used for is the development of our downtown center. The LCI project is exactly that. It's streetscapes for Wisteria, parts of Wisteria, Henry Clower, and Oak Road. So I can't think of a better purpose than that, to use that money. And again, I think we'll recoup some of that in our 2012 budget with surplus, and I think you can recoup the rest of it. But we're still, even if we don't, we're at $4.4 million in surplus. By the mayor's own calculation, there is a which again, I've never seen. We should have 2.5. That still leaves us $19 million over, or excuse me, $1.9 million over where we should be. So we have the money. I don't see raising taxes or keeping taxes high when it's absolutely unnecessary.
Further discussion?
Yes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, just because we get a big bucket of extra money doesn't mean we need to spend it. It's that simple. And the budget that I will support doesn't reflect spending just money that we just happen to have gotten just because it's there. We simply have to be conservative with what we're doing. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And when we look at the sum total of what we're looking at, and I'm a firm believer, I'm a taxpayer here, and say I really don't want to pay taxes on money that, number one, we've already received, and money we shouldn't have to pay taxes on because of things we didn't foresee, such as LCI, that's been dragging on for a long time, and it's time to put a stop to it. So the budget that I'll support will be the budget that Mayor Pro Tem Witts has just put forth for those reasons, because with the surplus that we have in the budget, no reason to spend a surplus if we don't need it. So that's the budget I'll support.
Additional comments?
I don't know if you've ever gone through a budget process, but it's long, it's involved. We've got 6 people who have opinions. We got together at Summit Chase to discuss it and try to hammer out things. As far as I knew, we left there with 1% raises for the city employees. In this budget here, every one I've looked at is more than 1%. So I can't support this budget for a variety of reasons, but one of the major reasons is we came to an agreement on salaries that's not reflected in this budget. The one that Mayor Pro Tem Witts has proposed is consistent with my recollection of what we discussed in our prior budget meeting, and that's the one I'll support.
Additional comments? Ms. Patton, could you, Mayor Pro Tem Witts, a couple of points of clarification. In your proposed budget that you emailed to us, the police administration salaries were decreased by $3,787.59. Are you proposing that decrease in the motion you made tonight? That's on page 3 of your proposed budget. You're proposing that those salaries be decreased. You're proposing that we decrease staff salary and the police administration.
That's not what I said. You asked me if I was, your question was, am I standing by what the figure that I have in my budget, and that's yes.
Okay. Below that, you added a line item for, I believe, overtime salaries for the farmers to have police officers at the farmers market of $16,500. Is that part of your motion tonight?
Yes, and that was also part of the agreement that we had at Summit Chase. It was also in my proposal at that point.
You then going down in software maintenance, you've decreased the budget for police administration software maintenance by $132. Is that part of your proposal tonight?
Yes, it is.
The next page, under police patrol, you've taken out the overtime for police patrol officers of $5,000. Is that part of your amendment tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And Public Works, you've decreased the Public Works salary by $2.81. Is that part of your amended budget tonight?
Yes, it is.
The mayor's section, you've decreased dues and fees for the mayor by $5. Is that part of your amended budget tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Under the city manager section, you have removed the cell phone communications for the city manager of $960. Is that part of your amended budget tonight?
Yes, it is.
Under general administration, you decreased the long-term disability, which is a set cost, by $193. Is that part of your budget amendment
No,
tonight?
that was not part of my budget amendment unless it was given, that figure was given to me by the city.
Okay. You've also removed the employee wellness program, which we receive an insurance discount for, which is $500. Is that part of your amendment tonight?
No.
You've removed, which is also another set cost, administration cost of the old pension plan. You've reduced it by $2,000. Is that part of your amendment tonight?
Historically, it was $8,000, and I've kept at the historical figure.
So so reducing it by $2,000, is that
Yes,
correct?
I am, yes.
The insurance, you've reduced by $2,000, P&I insurance. Is that part of your amendment for tonight?
What line item is that? What's the number on that, please?
It's 540-1500-523. $540-1500-523 is the Art Commission. I'm looking at your budget, I'm sorry. but
I
it's-
am too. I am too. 540-1500-523 is Art Commission.
We're looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up from the Art Commission.
Yes, it is.
The reduction of $2,000 is
Yes,
part
it
of your
is.
amendment?
Yes, it is.
In accounting, you have reduced the wages by $597.61. Is that part of your amendment?
Yes, it is. Those are the figures that were given to me by the city administrator.
Is that correct, Ms. Burke? Okay. In human resources, you've reduced the salary by $592.26. Is that part of your amendment tonight?
Let me make this clear. I went by the figures that were given to me prior to the budget at Summit Chase by the city administrator. If they are incorrect, then absolutely they need to be corrected to the right 1%. That's what we agreed to. I'm only going by, I can only work with the figures I'm given. I have an email that shows these are the figures that I was given at the time, and that's what I based it on. If they're wrong, then we need to amend it at a later date to make sure that compensation is corrected. But I can only go by the figures I'm given by staff.
So going on, human resources, you've decreased it by $592.26. That's part of your amendment right now?
Same thing. These are based on figures I was given by the city manager.
In cultural recreation admin, you've reduced the salary by $650.22. Is that part of your amendment?
Yes, it is.
By recreation part supervisor, you've reduced the salary by $267.32. Is that part of your reduction?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You've also reduced Social Security by $700. Is that part of your amendment?
It'll be whatever it is. We'll amend it. If I'm incorrect, we'll certainly amend it to what we need to pay. We won't violate the federal government.
I understand, but is that part of your amendment tonight? That is not the figures
No.
that staff gave us in the latest
No.
budget.
Well, but it is the figures that we had that I was given by staff when we created my budget.
In senior participants, you've decreased the salary by $360. Is that part of your amendment
Yes,
tonight?
it is.
You've also, under senior participants, you've increased the repairs and maintenance by $1,500. Is that part of your?
Yes, it is.
Under parks, salaries and wages, you've decreased the salary by $20. Is that part of your amendment tonight?
Yes, it is.
You've decreased the retirement contributions by $149. Is that part of your amendment?
Yes, it is.
Under planning, you've had a change of $6,550 under the salaries and wages. Is that part of your amendment?
Yes, it is.
And you're proposing to remove the LCI project of $426.22 from the capital improvements?
Yes, I am.
Now, are you saying that we're not going forward with the LCI project, or you're just asking that that be removed from the budget?
That's not putting it in this budget.
I'm sorry?
I'm not putting it in this budget.
But you're not asking us to take a,
Absolutely not.
and then you're removing the transfer to stormwater of the $99,107 for the 2 employees we just placed in stormwater. Is that correct? Is that what?
That's not what that $99,000 does. Those 2 employees are taken out of the stormwater balance. There was never a transfer from the general fund and the stormwater to subsidize those 2 employees. The whole reason for moving the 2 employees to stormwater was because they were being paid for out of the general fund when they're doing stormwater work. They're doing stormwater work now, it'll be taken out of stormwater. There was never a transfer involved.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Litz.
You're welcome.